So there's a really big ship blocking the Suez Canal right now. And this video I'm going to describe if you had up-to-date modern enterprise technology and something like this happens, then what does your day look like? So the first thing to note is that the delivery date or the receipt date, I'm going to use those interchangeably, is that they would be proactively updated. They'd be updated as reflecting one day late, and they would be updated within 16 hours of the event. And it would be within 16 hours because that's approximately how long it takes to pass through the canal. And you'd have milestone events based on GPS coordinates. You would understand when your shipments are entering the canal and when they're exiting the canal. And then for sure, at a minimum, once every 12 hours, you would have the system run the receipt or the delivery date against shipment's actual location or real-time estimated up-to-date delivery date. So it would fall inside that window. So it's important to note that within 16 hours of the event occurring, you would find out. The literal way that you would find out is when the system ran its update and it moved everything out one day, that would update your ERP system reflecting the receipt date as moving out one day late. That typically comes with an alert, and that alert is just an email that goes to an inbox or warehouse employees, supply chain employees. And you can imagine an event like this could affect a lot of items of yours, and so it could pepper your inbox. It could be hundreds of these alerts depending on how many you have. So you would have that moment, if you can imagine. 9:30 a.m. is when the system runs it, and then your inbox just you would wonder what is going on. So you'd start to investigate. So you would click on the link, and the link would it'd take you to the shipment. You would understand what items are included in that shipment, and then you would move to a maps view, and you would look at all the shipments where you have items on them that are affected. You would notice that you're right there at the Suez Canal. You literally would start to Google the Suez Canal. You would call people that you know. That's how you would find out what happened. So you would know that something is up, but you still don't know exactly what to do or how to fix it. So the next thing that you would probably do is you would look and you would say, I want to see all my shipments that have a milestone event that includes the Suez Canal that is expected to happen in the next 2 weeks. Okay, so now you know every shipment where you have items on board and it's going through the canal in the next 2 weeks. So all these are at risk. They need to be flagged. They need to be handled. Find a mitigation plan, whatever. It's important to note that we've gotten all this information and up to this decision point without relying on anybody else but ourselves. Especially we haven't had to call the 3PLs because they're very, very busy. We haven't had to rely on anybody else. This is the data that we own. We always want to own our data. So you know the items that are affected, and you know the items that have been shipped. What you can also find out is what items do I have that are currently scheduled for over the ocean but haven't shipped yet, and then does it make sense to change that? Does it make sense to run air freight against that? You also could look and you should have the visibility into your suppliers to be able to see their inventory levels. So maybe you could find suppliers that have extra inventory, because remember, you don't need to buy for the whole order. You just need to buy to bridge the gap. The gap is, when are they going to get that boat to refloat? So as far as what to buy, how big that gap is, that would be an interesting conversation. You basically, whatever you buy, if they have the inventory to cover what you have on the ships, everything that you buy to air freight, you're just paying air freight as an insurance policy against how late that inventory is going to be. But also to make decisions like that, you still need more information. So to keep going about if you had enterprise technology, if you had modern, up to date, the best enterprise technology, you would be able to communicate with the suppliers. So you would be able to have the visibility into their inventory of this stuff. You would be able to say, hey, I'm going to change the shipping from that to air freight. I'm going to dice the shipment. 70% can go on the next shipment, but I want to take 30%. I want to air freight it now. And you could do that across various suppliers, which you might have to, because let's face it, they just shipped a bunch of that material. So it's maybe not likely that they're going to have more of it on hand. So maybe you have to do that across multiple suppliers. You find out what that air freight shipment costs, and then you get to make that decision. It's not through email. It's not through phone calls. It's all right there It's clean lines stacked on top of each other. There's workflows, there's approvals, there's an audit history. The negotiation for air freight is real. You can sign off on it. You're also going to jump back into the system now, and you're going to kind of play a game where you're going to know what shipments are already affected, right? Like what are on the ocean and are just destined to be affected. Because let's say you're probably not going to be in a position where you get to decide whether that ship's going to go around Africa or wait. I mean, you're just not really going to know what the true delivery date of the things that you have that are on the water right now destined to go through there. You're just not going to know. You just have to do your best at this point. But you know everything that's on there. So now you can start to look at what you need to ship, what you need to build over the items that are on that ship that are being late, and what can you cover? I mean, is there some low-hanging fruit of just inventory you have at different locations? Are there suppliers that you haven't bought from for 8 years that you can call? Is it something that maybe if it's like a component part, maybe you can make it. Maybe you can make enough to bridge the gap. Remember, you don't have to fulfill the whole order. Maybe there's another manufacturer that you can hire and you can sub it out to, and they can build it until that gets delivered. If you're really good, then you should be able to start running what-if scenarios too. So now you can look at it and you can say, what if I ran 4 headcount at 16 hours of overtime and they manufacture this component part over the night? You have a proper bill of material. You understand the time that it takes to manufacture that and people to clock in and out of operations and what 4 headcount means per hours and per the operations breakdown. I mean, you'll understand how many parts they can truly make over a 16-hour shift, and you can put that against what the demand is on the ships that are stuck at sea and stuck in transit. And maybe you just run 2 shifts at 16 hours at 4 headcount of overtime until the ship gets refloated, and that's how you cover those items that are on the ship. But it's really powerful just to be able to make those decisions. And it's fun. It's fun when you use the data to do it. So thanks for listening. I'm going to make another video that's kind of more about like data-driven decisions. How does that actually play out in real life too? So thanks.